So this weekend we had 40 people show up, which is like more than anybody thought we would get this season for Zenith Strand. So that's awesome. We had 40 players and 7 NPCs, which is a super awesome amount of people. Like really, 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 really cool. But what it means is that we have to take NPC shifts, right? Because you can't have that many people and 7 NPCs and expect the NPCs to work 100% of the time, all the time, to do all the stuff. So players had to volunteer to be NPCs for a short period of time, like during the game. And so stuff would happen like one of the shapers would come in as an NPC and be like, I need a few people to come and like do this mission with me, and then you know, the rest of you are going to assault like a fortress or something. And the people who, like, a few people who went to go do the mission, they would like costume down and costume up as NPCs, you know, and then fight the people at the fort because we needed more people to fight, that kind of stuff, which is super fun, you know. For you know, in some cases it's fun to do. I'm not usually a huge fan of NPC shifts because it pulls me out of character, but it's easy to do with Tawney because she's like, it doesn't take as much of my brain to get to Tawney levels of in character as it does for like Aaron, for example. So I wasn't as unhappy, though I did have to take some prosthetics off, which is unfortunate. My horns, I had to take my horns off. My ears are fine because I was gonna play an elf. So we could just say, they're pointy ears, whatever. They're floppy. But so we're getting kitted up for NPCs, and I was like, okay, so what are we playing? And the shapers were like, well, you're gonna play a bunch of ice elves and Einhar that are like working for those ice elves, like they're slaves basically. Well, they're janissaries, you know. They're skirmishers or whatever you want to call it. They're levies. They're working for the ice elves. And I was like, well, I guess it's time to get into my other character, because as soon as I'm told to play an ice elf, the ice elf's god is Pandora, the god that I follow at the other game with Aaron, you know? So it was like, yeah, you're all worshippers of Pandora, you're all like pain, torture, death, slow killing your enemies, you know, like all that stuff. You have all these spells and these abilities, and this is what you are, and they give you like a little sheet. And one of the people goes like, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna be doing, you know, like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm playing an Einhar, and like the other Einhar guy's like, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do either. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make this really easy for both of you, because we're all on the NPC shift, you know. I'm gonna make this really easy for both of you. You and you're both my bitch now. Do what I say, you know. And they're like, okay, yeah, that works. You know, that seems like a reasonable thing to do. And I was like, I'm playing Aaron, but like an ice elf, and at the game that I was at with my other character. Yeah. So there's like this moment of like, I'm standing there sort of getting into this ice elf character as I can see them like coming up the hill to like fight us. And I'm pacing and I'm like, wow, I'm really in Aaron brain again at the wrong game. And it's weird. It feels weird, you know, like to do. Which is cool, but also weird. Who's the Ewoks? Ewoks is Bryce, the person who gave me black goo. Everyone pwned by Ewoks. One of our the like lead story shaper, I think, for Underworld Zenith Strand. He's the one who was dripping black goo from the ceiling, as in the last story I told. But yeah, so I sort of got to do Aaron stuff for a little combat in a game doing Tawney stuff. But I remember somebody said, oh, what do we say to like worship Pandora? What do we say to like show that we're Pandorites? And Bryce looks over at me, points and goes, she knows. You know, and I'm like, well, praise Pandora works. Or, you know, like, all glory to the Widow of Pain. May your deaths be slow and drawn out. May you suffer and learn and, you know, all that shit. May you suffer and learn that pain is momentary and fear is forever, you know, all that kind of shit. Like, just blah, 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 other stuff. So yeah, it was fun. I got to sort of like tutor some people in the Pandora times. It was good. And there were some visiting people this game from Calidor, like people whose characters are actually from the Edmonton chapter, who like visited like through a gate or through foot travel or like however they got there, but like their characters were actually Edmonton characters. So one of the pieces of loot that these ice elves dropped is a steel symbol of Pandora. Lots and lots of these ice elves dropped a tag that said steel symbol of Pandora on it. And I've heard through the grapevine that one of those is making its way back to Aaron through Lucian's pockets. Lucian was visiting, although he called himself Schmendrick. I don't know why. I was visiting Xenostrand, so I'm gonna get a steel symbol of Pandora tag for Aaron from Xenostrand, which is cool, you know, stuff like that. It's really cool that like that sort of stuff is happening now, you know, like the guilds are sort of like interacting and like items are changing hands. Like we got a life scroll like ahead of schedule because it was available, you know, like because one of the people from Edmonton had a life scroll. Bastard almost stole our life scroll. Yeah, well, that's because I might have sold it to him because real money, but that's another story. That's a different story. Oh, you know what? We'll tell that story too. So this life scroll made its way into my hands. I'm not entirely sure how I got it. I don't remember. Everything I do with Tawney is like a daze. It's a daze. I don't understand it. Like, I don't remember anything that I was doing. This life scroll, like ended up in my hand somehow. And I was digging through my bag and I found it, and I handed it over to because it's just a piece of paper to me. As a person who doesn't cast magic, it's just a piece of paper. And it basically said on it, you know, that it was life scroll. Bring people back to life. Super cool. But as a person who doesn't read magic, I can't read it. Like, Tawney cannot read it. So it's just scribbles to me. And I'm looking through my bag, and Lucian's sitting nearby, or Schmendrick is sitting nearby, and he sees it, and he goes, "Oh, that's interesting." And I'm like, "What? It's paper. You want it? You want the paper?" He could have just said, "Yep," and just taken it if he'd wanted to, but he's like, "No, I'll trade you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. So what do you give me?" And he starts pulling out coins, like actual coins. And actual coins don't exist in Xenostrand yet. Like, we have paper that says, like, 1 gold on it. Look, here, I'll show you. Because, like, they don't have the physical coins yet. So, like, we have these, right? Which is like paper that says, like, it's a gold coin writ. It's an cast and trade writ. Gold coin, you know? And this is a writ worth 1 gold coin, you know? But there are also actual coins. Sorry, I'm digging through my bag down here, looking for actual coins. There are actual coins that are like the Underworld brand coin. Here, look, this is a gold. This is a gold. It has a phoenix or an angel, I think. Yeah, it's like an angel on one side, like that, and then a triangle. A triangle on the other side. Oh, sure, Pwn. Like, whether you have them or not, like, they haven't circulated yet. You know what I mean? So, yay! Rainforest! Thank you for the bits. But they haven't circulated yet. So, you know, actual coins were presented to me, and I was like, it's real money! You know? You know, that was kind of cool. It was one of those moments where I was like, oh, cool, a gold. And then he pulls out, like, 8 gold or like 9 gold or something and like a bunch of silver. He literally emptied his pockets and went like, here. And I go, yeah, for my scribbles? Sure! You know, like take the gold and like the money and Tawney doesn't actually value the money as like money. It's more like that's cool. I like that sound. Paper doesn't make that sound. You know, like level of enjoyment for for coins. But yeah, give me a bunch of coins and some potions and like other stuff, you know. In trade for just like a paper with scribbles on it. But that was a really important paper with scribbles, you know? And they ended up at the end of game like Lucian traded it back into the game, so to speak, because he was gonna like go back to Calidor, right? He traded it back into Zenith Strand by like, you know, negotiating with someone else and getting like a slightly higher price. So he like made like a tiny profit on it, but it was good roleplay, you know. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. Out of game, my brain was like, no, what are you doing? No, give it away. But in game, I'm like, yep, sure. You know, like, just like, Tawney is a moron. Yeah. I don't think they got the ritual scroll, Nordic Rest. I don't think they did. I think Eduardo still has that. They traded like money for it, like a slightly higher amount of money than I got. I gave them some actual coin in trade for papers because Dracus looked like he was mad at me. Dracus is like staring at me like, fucking Tawney, what'd you do? You're trading me fucking things, you know? Like, I'm like, what? I didn't do anything. He's like, give me some of your gold. I'll give you papers worth the same. And I'm like, will you like me again? Yes. Okay. I just kind of shit. She's such a child. She's such a naive, dumb child.